Good evening. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for June 9, 2021 is now in session. I would like to introduce my board. To my far left is Skip Sweeney and Todd Bowling. I'm Ivan Valentic. To my right is Chris Gerald and Blair Hamilton. To our far right is Heather Freeman, our zoning inspector. Under the advice of legal counsel, we ask that anyone speaking tonight must be sworn in. So if you plan on speaking, please stand and raise your right hand. You gotta, yes, thank you. Please, yeah, just please. Okay, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God. If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. This evening, when presenting your case at the microphone, state your name, confirm you've been sworn in, and your address. Okay. Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes, they were.
All right. We have 3 items on old business and 4 new appeals on new business. So we're going to first start with our old business. We have an appeal number 2018-41 Rainey Viviani of 7757 Concord LLC. This appeal has been on the docket for a while, and this one has continued to be tabled. We also have a variance for 2021-82 John Nekic is requesting a variance from section 15.03A2 for accessory building. That one has also been requested to be tabled as well until our next meeting. The next item on old business is the approval of minutes from April 14th, 2021. So we're going to approve those minutes if that's okay with everybody on the board. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes from April 14, 2021.
I had a question.
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Was I at that meeting?
Looked at that. Yes, you were.
Okay, yes.
I believe Skip was, and I believe Blair was as well. Can I get a second?
Second?
Is there any discussions or additions or deletions to the minutes from April? I have none. Skip, anything? No? Okay. I'm going to ask for a vote to approve the minutes from April 14, 2021. All in favor of approving the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes from April 14th are approved. Thank you. All right, next is the new business. We have, first is variance number 2021-83. Robert E. Schrader is requesting a variance from section 15.04B, table 15.04-1 to allow for the accessory building to be located with a 0-foot setback, 0-foot side yard clearance in lieu of the minimum 10-foot required for the property located at 10397 Prouty Road, current parcel number 08-A-030-A-00-014-0. Please come up and present your case.
Hi, good evening. I'm Robert Aaron Schrader. I go by Eric. My parents decided to make life difficult. Call me by my middle name. So,
And you've been sworn in, sir?
I have been sworn in.
And can you just state your address for the record?
Yes, it's 10397 Prouty Road.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so I purchased a storage shed to get some additional storage at my residence, and wasn't aware and failed to realize that there were zoning issues with it potentially, where it was going. I placed it where I did based on the need to have it close to my house so that I could get out to it to get the mower and things of that nature, and I also wanted to get access via a truck to my backyard for septic and some tree removal and things of that nature. And I just had a driveway poured, so there's not enough room for me to put it any closer to the other direction to my house, and be able to get a truck back there to do the septic and tree removal and all that sort of stuff. So my neighbor was involved in the project. He helped me with a lot of it. And there's actually, the shed doesn't actually sit on the property line. It's probably a foot over, but there's a retaining wall there that I built so that none of the rock or anything went into my neighbor's yard. So there's a bit of a retaining wall there that had been built. And again, all this work was done before I knew, and I know that's on me in ignorance, it's not a defense, but I wasn't aware that I needed to be 10 feet from the property line when I built it. I excavated an area there to level it out, have gravel, built a retaining wall there behind the driveway, and have dropped the shed in there at this point. So I'm asking for a variance to be able to leave it as it is, because in order to move it at this point would be costly and create a lot of work. And also I included a letter from my neighbor saying that he's fine with it where it is.
How long has your neighbor lived there for?
Longer than I have. He's lived there for years and years.
What's the distance to the adjacent property, to their building?
There's
From
no
this-
oh,
from
to,
this shed.
to his house?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Probably 20, 30 feet. I mean, it's a ways away.
31 feet.
Are you considering putting any kind of landscape or screening on that side towards your neighbor's property around the shed?
There are landscape timbers, or actually railroad ties.
I see that, but any landscaping?
No, no. There will be a fence, but it's going to come inside just to keep my dog. So, and there was a fence there before, but you can probably see in the pictures.
Anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, how'd you get caught?
I don't know. I'm assuming I live right on Prouty, and the guy, when he delivered the shed, he was out there and blocking traffic in the road, and with this being where it is, I'm sure you guys all drove by and somebody saw it, but no, again, I wasn't trying to hide anything. I didn't know. And, I know that's not a defense, but
Yeah. Well, it's not good. Skip usually gets worked up about this stuff, but he must be off tonight. It's disappointing that you did that. Your neighbor now is good with it. You're lucky. The next guy that moves there, he might not like it, but he knows what he's getting into too, right? So, any other questions, Blair? You have anything?
No.
Okay. You can be seated.
thank you.
Is there anyone else that's speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? Okay, if there's no further questions, a public hearing for variance number 2021-83 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance number 2021-83?
So moved.
Second from someone, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the board? Nothing? Okay. The question is on the approval of appeal number 2021-83. A yes vote will approve the variance. A no vote denies it. Heather, please call the vote.
I'm sorry, we moved pretty quickly. I wasn't sure if I could say anything.
Sure.
Had the neighbor not been so involved in this, I would have gotten it worked out. I understand, sure, that you don't have any ill intent and everything, but I think it's everyone's duty to make themselves familiar with the zoning regulations, especially with a shed of that size, and especially with the fact that you knew it was close to a property line, very close. And so
Tell them
Had
they
your
should
na-
read the grapevine.
Had
They would
your
know
na-
about zoning.
it's in every grapevine, isn't it?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Usually some.
Had the neighbor not been so involved, and I think that really did it for me, at least. So I appreciate you providing that information for us.
All right. So, Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Goling?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Yes, your variance has been approved. All right, next on the agenda is variance number 2021-84. Rough Neon and Lighting Maintenance Inc. is requesting a variance on behalf of the property owner, ML-CFC 2007-7 Feudal Drive LLC, to allow for the construction of a new freestanding sign in the lot for the property located at 7530 Feudal Drive, current parcel number 08-A-019-B-00-02-0 as follows. And number A, a variance from section 30.05B to permit the sign height to be 16 feet 4 inches in lieu of the maximum height of 12 feet. B, a variance from section 30.05D5, which states freestanding signs shall either rest and be affixed to a solid base for support, or if it is supported members or posts exposed or visible from an external view, but not in the case to exceed a height of 2 feet above grade in accordance with section 4 above. Then it shall have low growth vegetation planted continuously maintained around its base with sufficient height to conceal from the view and support members or posts. And then C, variance from section 30.5D8C to permit the sign to be 113.78 square feet in lieu of the maximum 100 square feet allowed.
Good evening. Jessica Ruff, 295 West Prospect Street, Painesville, 44077.
You've been sworn in?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jessica. So we're gonna vote on all three separately,
Okay.
so you know, but you can present them all and we can ask questions on all three variances if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go over first just the overall design of the sign, if you guys don't mind. So we are proposing a 16-foot 4-inch by 137 1/4 overall width monument sign. So the total variance for the height would be about 4 foot 4 inch. And then the overall area of the sign that will actually read the tenants is 84 by 74 1/4 wide. And that will be LED illuminated. So the Lucky's and the Sunny Street Cafe, that would all be illuminated, that cabinet, with LED. And then for the top half, the Gristmill Village portion would be illuminated, as well as at Quail Hollow, but the backing of the sign would not. So that would just be aluminum. And it would be painted to match. We tried to match as best as possible the plaza, so it kind of looks like it was meant to be there, and everything kind of blends well overall. So, and as well as the stonework too, we'd match that stonework there. The reason for the variance request, I have some photos if I could present.
Sure.
So there is an actual elevation change. I don't know if I'm sure you guys are familiar with that property. But you can kind of see it. She might have just the one on the side.
Yeah, I just drove by today.
Yeah, so there is an elevation change there, roughly about 5 feet, we estimated. So we are requesting that height variance of the 16-foot 4, and then also the square footage. As far as variance B, we're definitely, any type of landscaping needed to cover that and make it look nice, we definitely will do anything we can to make that eye-pleasing for you guys. So that will not be a problem.
There's never been a sign there. Why do they, what's the thinking behind adding one now?
They are fully, all the tenants there, they're fully, there's no space there. And with Lucky's moving in, there's a lot of people going to that plaza. And I know if I could bring up Jeff here from Actual Plaza, he can kind of describe more so the plaza needs.
Is this at the request of the anchor tenant
The which
of
tenant?
Lucky's? Is Lucky's requesting the sign going in, or?
Oh no, this is just an overall, something that they would like to do.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Holman. My address is 7196 Brass Creek Drive in Dexter, Michigan. I work for a company called Friedman Real Estate.
And you've been sworn in, sir? I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, I was.
Thank you.
I work for the company Friedman Real Estate. We are the property manager for and represent the owner who received the information. And we've been working with Rough Neon on the signage. The whole tenant group there, when we took over management of that property about 3 years ago, it was a little less than 50% occupied. Going into July 1, when Lucky's will open, it'll be 100% occupied, both the office side and the retail side. Those of you that get by there, I hope have noticed that it's been updated pretty substantially, lots of asphalt, lots of new landscaping. Lucky's is going to be a fantastic presence. The other retail operators there are very happy that Lucky's is coming in.
What is Lucky's?
It's a very upscale market. So
Supermarket?
yeah,
Food?
but yes, exactly.
Okay.
But it'll have deli, it'll have hot foods, Whole Foods, kind of a small Whole Foods style, which I think in this demographic will do very well. They have about 6 of them throughout the Midwest. They actually purchased the Lucky's name and are finding that that's this demographic matches that very well. So at their request and at the other tenants' request, the presence out on that road is a little difficult to get to. You have to come in and out and then kind of find it. So we think they certainly think that a sign would help them. We're all in favor. To be very honest, they will all pay into through their rental payments. They'll pay into the sign cost. So I think that's telling you that you're not going to have a lot of vacant, nameplates on there with just Lucky's. We have commitments from all of the tenants that they want to be on there. So we think it adds to that center, and we think that center adds substantially to this village.
What was the rationale behind not doing a complete monument and were you just trying to minimize costs with doing the 2 masonry columns? Or why didn't you do a complete, a solid base?
The masonry, if we did a solid base, it would be pretty substantially large. It would be 5 feet by 137.25 inches wide. I mean, I guess that is a possibility. We could do that. I think that's something.
We didn't
guys-
ever go. It
but we
wasn't that we
never-
made a choice to
Yeah.
do this versus that. This is more, we let the experts in signage sort of give us their design, which we really like, and we were happy to work with them from the zoning restrictions. But with the drop off there, I think you'll find that the height is actually about at 12 feet.
So what I'm trying to understand, I guess, just to get back to the first variance, is that you think it needs to be up higher because of the road elevation? That's what I think we need to hear that.
Yeah, correct. Just because as far as going down the road, if we tried, we did offer, I can even show you what we did, the original design of the 12 feet, and I think as far as the difference in height there. So that's how it would look. And it is 40 feet back from the road. So we just felt like getting it up in the air as far as driving down the road, center of eye, it would be kind of.
I see that.
Yeah.
Is that in our packet?
No, this is actually something I proposed, just to code. I wanted you guys to see
Oh,
to
so
code.
that's the
what-
slope right there?
Correct. So the slope.
And you measured that
would
at 60 inches?
approximately.
Wow.
It's kind of hard to
Thank you.
think of it wrong. Yeah, approximately about.
Can I see that also, please?
So that's actually to code. So it kind of be in that valley. I don't know if you want to call it valley, but it would kind of be in that slope area, which would kind of, visibility wise, not really work well.
So the second variant, you want to walk us through that?
Yeah. So the second variance, I mean, we are willing to do the brick straight across if needed. But I guess it's kind of, it's everyone, you know, I guess your eye might like it better with the brick. And if that's something that we have to do, the brick all the way across, we're more than willing to do this. This was just, I mean, it would be more cost effective to do just the 2 pillars rather than going across with the brick.
But that wasn't a decision made.
No.
And I honestly haven't seen it that way. We'd be happy if that was important. We can certainly design it that way.
So actually looking at your rendering, it to me is less imposing than a solid base would be.
I feel like the solid base would be so overwhelming to design. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But it's everyone's eye is different. I'm not, you know.
But I think, yeah, but I think it is, part of it is, you're probably right. I think it's never intended to be 5 foot tall, that's why.
Correct.
We want a
Correct.
solid base, yeah.
Yeah, typical monument sign is never that extreme as far as the sign base goes. Usually they're 2 feet, 3 feet, whatever.
You want to walk us through the third variance?
Yep.
What you
So
need?
overall square footage wise, right now, currently, the Sunny Street and down, all those tenants are roughly about 8 inches tall. So overall, I know we're asking for, I think it's 13 square feet total in sign area. And that's just to try to make everything slightly bigger. We did try to kind of play around, manipulate the square footage, but we just found this was kind of the best. We tried to go looking for, you know, 2 code, but this is kind of what I came up with. Just as far as, I mean, we could trim those down a bit or trim one piece maybe a bit, but we kind of overall, visually, this is a, you know, we thought it kind of, as far as size-wise went, I don't want to go any more smaller with the Bristol Village, because that's roughly 3 feet overall of that square footage. So if you go, you kind of got to shrink something, you know, you got to give and take somewhere. So we kind of manipulated it, and we liked this overall design and thought it was best as far as visibility goes.
So you have the
You're
two,
more
the,
40 feet back from the road, so we just,
the 2 open panels at the bottom. You're just leaving those open in case you have to split spaces or something?
Yeah, more than likely, those will fill with tenants. We're trying to make sure we have enough for, I mean, we have more tenants that are on there. So we're just making sure that we have enough that anyone else wants, or in the future, something changes. The other thing that could always be put on there is, you know, a welcome sign or anything, if there was anything that the township would more like to see there. Often on those types of signs, you know, you put the manager, which would be us. But we're not looking to get our presence out there, but if that were important, we certainly could do that.
When I look at it too, it's what I struggle with, and you know, I always have a hard time with these signs because I think they get too big and there's too many of them. But like when I look at the page 1, the sign looks bigger in that like image down at the bottom than when I look at page 2. Page 2, it's a little bit more pleasing, quite honestly. Doesn't seem like it's going to be that big. But when I look at page 1, it seems like it's going to be, you know, it dwarfs the size of that car, you know, when I look at it. Which one, I guess, is more accurate to what it's really going to look like?
the page 2 would actually be to scale, because as you can see, the gentleman sitting in there, page 1, we kind of, my irresponsibleness, but we kind of did that in a hurry just to get it submitted by the due date of this meeting. So that's not to scale, I mean, this is 5 feet, but that car, yeah.
And how's it lit up again? I missed. It was-
Yeah, so, the cabinet that reads Lucky's and down to the tenant, that would be LED illuminated, and, everything here that you see will, like Lucky's, Huntington, Fleming Street, Cafe, all those tenants would illuminate. And then up here, the Gristmill Village at Quail Hollow, so only the Gristmill Village at Quail Hollow will illuminate, and then the, beige color will be non-illuminated.
Okay.
Is that lighting, is that internal
It's all
or is it
internal.
spot? So it's
Yeah.
from the inside?
Yeah, all
Yep.
internally, yep.
Any other questions, Todd? Anything?
It just seems I mean, I've probably driven by people on trial are trial to go to Starbucks, Chipotle, or Panini's, in there. They're not, people on 44 have no chance of seeing this. And if I'm on trial of going there and I already know where I'm going, and if I look over in my mind's eye, looking at the sign for upgrade over there, I can read it on there, read it pretty well. It just seems kind of small, and I hasten to say unnecessary, but I don't see the purpose behind it. It doesn't make sense to me. That, because the one thing that kind of zings me is I despise the shell sign that's up there, and in the picture you see right behind there, and I'm gonna have another sign in front of the shell sign. They're lined up next to each other, and I just, like you, I don't really care for signage. I already know it's there, and I get the 5-foot thing, the grade thing. You got to raise it up to see it. But even raising it up, if I realize this is probably as close to scale as we're doing the best we can with this,
Yeah,
but
yeah, think
if
about
I'm
the
driving by in trial at 25, 30 miles an hour, the chance of me reading this is nil. So.
You already know it's there. You
Yeah,
live in
I
the
know it's there,
community.
right.
Right.
It's a main thoroughfare. I mean, the retail has just, exploded in the last years. So they want people to see it from 44. And it's a weird,
think you
it's
can
a
see it
weird
from
traffic pattern.
Yeah.
They may not be able to see the individual tenant panels, but they see Gristmill Village, they see Lucky's, they see that there's a bunch of tenants back there. If they're not from the area, they say, oh, I've got to somehow get over to Cryo,
Right.
and they have to figure that out. But I mean, being in real estate, I understand how important it is to have the signage. And I think you guys have done a really great job since you took over the center. And I personally think that, just based on my own experience, that it is a very important aspect of a retail center.
I will tell you from being out of town, the first time I almost drove by.
Sure.
You don't even know how to get
Right.
in there.
Yeah,
It's
it's hard to-
that there's anything in there.
Yeah.
But I understand, the traffic on a daily basis knows it's there, but the tenants are asking for it, and they know their businesses. And this is a tough time for retailers.
And I don't think-
This has been a difficult time.
Yeah, we had the same discussion when Drug Mart asked for a certain type of variance for their sign down the road. And as Todd, I'm gonna echo what Todd said. I don't think these things are very helpful at all, but I don't think that's the point. I think, I don't know, I don't do these developments or anything like that, but I think I think that it ties in the whole plaza, sort of like a triangulation, and kind of anchors the look. And I get that. But honestly, I don't see any of those. I can't read any of those things.
Well, if you have a
I-
passenger in the car and you're looking for a place, the passenger could certainly see those items.
Possibly.
And it is a vital component to any lease.
Yeah. No, I think they're entitled to it.
An office space or especially retail.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think, maybe some people do think, I don't think we can't have a sign. I think we should have some signage. I think there's the code in place to dictate what the signage should be. This one, I don't know if it really needs to be 16 feet. I think that hill going down, I drove through there all the time. I just went through there again. It's pretty gentle. I don't think it's really as big of a hole as maybe you think it is.
But from 44, that grade is substantial.
No, I think from Cryle it's substantial as well.
Yeah.
Well, and
I do.
It is 40 feet
Yeah.
off the road. The sign is going to
Yeah.
be 40 feet off the road.
Which I think helps your case to make it visible. Not the height.
Not the height,
But your actual being able to see the sign.
yeah.
I do think that Lucky's will become quite a presence in town and may become the locator. So when they see Lucky's, they'll know that Colfrado's in there.
Yeah.
They'll know that Sunny Street Deli's in there. I do think they will become very well known. Having their name up on the road will help the other tenants.
I think the context of the development, I'm just trying to picture it. I'm a little nervous that in the context of what we're trying to do, it's gonna be a little overbearing. The 5 foot high, I understand why you wanna put it up and what you're trying to do. But, that's just my 2 cents. I think the renderings helped. I think you did a good job. I'm very happy that you presented what it would look like in code too. I think it was a smart.
Oh,
thing
okay.
to do. That gives us a good sense of what it could look like.
I don't know too. This is sometimes things we do. I don't know time frame wise for you, but sometimes we put up like something temporary so you can actually see it. Like we'll drive over there, a flag, something. You guys can drive by and kind of see what a banner or something, so you guys can visually see too. I mean, we could offer that.
I don't think
Open
that's,
to that.
I don't
we have
think
to.
that's
Okay.
But that's a
necessary.
great strategy, and it would have been great if you would have done that and brought, just put it up for a
Yeah.
second, taken a picture,
Yeah.
and brought it in.
Because that really helps people too. We do that a lot because you don't really visually. It's hard to see when it's not up. When it's not there.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
No.
All right, you can be seated.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here that's speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? Okay, if there's no further questions, a public hearing for variance number 2021-84 is now, A4 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2021-84?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Open discussion. Anyone want to add anything to the discussion we already had?
Well, I don't necessarily think that the requests are terribly significant. And just the geography of the property and given the traffic patterns and what have you, I believe it is very necessary for them to be up higher so that they have the visibility. I mean, that's why retail developments are successful, is because they have that visibility, and these folks have gotten it completely leased up, got Lucky's in there, and I believe that wholeheartedly that we should grant the variances.
Blair, anything?
I agree. To the extent that the height variance is requested, it's understandable because of the elevation of Cryle Road. That then, I think, spills over into the monument base variance in that you've now got a higher base than you would have normally. And I think by not having the solid base, it is less imposing.
Yeah, I would agree.
And then thirdly, the overall area is really a very small variance.
Just I don't think it's gonna make any impact when crowd gets resurfaced without event, this at all, it's like, crowd not gonna go down or nothing like that.
Skip, anything?
Yeah, I think it's nice.
Okay. All right, then on approval of variance appeal number 2021, I'm sorry, 2021-84, a yes vote approves the variance and no vote denies it. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we should probably
Oh,
vote on each one of these
You are,
individually.
that's why you're here, you always straighten me out. So. Okay, so the question is on approval for variance appeal number 2021-84 for a variance from section 30.05B to permit the sign height to be 16 feet 4 inches in lieu of the maximum height of 12 feet. Please call the vote for just A.
Mr. Goling,
Yes.
Ms. Gerald,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes?
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
Mr. Valente.
Yes. Okay, that variance is approved. Next, for variance 2021-84 is B, variance from section 30.05D5, which states freestanding signs shall either rest and be affixed to solid base for support, or if it has support members or posts exposed or visible from external view of 2 feet above grade in accordance with subsection 4 above, and it shall have low growth vegetation planted continuously maintained around its base of sufficient height to conceal from view the support members or posts. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Yes. Okay, last is for variance 2021-A4B, a variance from section 30.5D8C to permit the sign to be 113.78 square feet in lieu of the maximum 100 square feet allowed. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
And Mr. Valenti?
Yes. All right, that variance is approved as well. Thank you. Thank you for coming in and presenting. We appreciate that. All right, next is variance number 2021-85. Robert Serputowski is requesting a variance from section 15.03 H2 to allow his existing driveway to be located 14 inches from the side property line in lieu of a minimum 3 feet or 36 inches required for the property located at 9775 Knightsbridge Lane, current parcel number 10-A-002-A-00-024-0. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Robert Serputowski. I have been sworn in. I reside at 9775 Knightsbridge Lane. I'm requesting a variance from section 15.03 H2 to allow my existing concrete to be located within 3 feet of the property lines. Now, I have a request written and I have multiple pages of pictures that I have submitted. Basically, in that introduction, I had to stretch the limits of the section to get 2 20 by 9 foot wide parking spaces illustrated in picture 3. You can see how big a car is and how big a spot you need. And the way the house and the property lines are situated, there's not a 90-degree angle. So I stretched the limits of section 15, the code 15.03, and I'm asking for a variance to allow it within 3 feet. It's 14 inches on the south side and 32 inches on the north side.
How'd you get caught?
I didn't, I brought it up.
Did you? Very good.
Well, we were talking about various other projects, and I had mentioned I did some concrete, and I had mentioned it wasn't exactly within 3 feet. So here I am, getting it properly varianced, if I can.
Excellent.
Who are you talking to that you mentioned?
Heather,
Oh.
Heather and Marty, well, yeah, I believe so, right? In 2018. So this has been done since 2018, and I'm bringing it up to get it done right. I mean, the concrete's been placed since 2018.
And the closest neighbor from the park pad at Kozlovic, he's about a football field away, and
Quite a ways.
according to this picture, he's pretty far away.
He's very far away. All those houses are
And it's very
separate.
green around there too. It's decked in.
Right,
It's-
right.
It's already 18 inches below grade. That's why I had to make the retaining wall.
Right.
And we're not concerned with that. We're just concerned with the placement of the concrete and the property line. Basically, I deal with 90-degree angles. And, I mean, it would be, it would look crazy if I turned it.
Your neighbor's not complained about it, right?
No, he's not here, and you didn't get a leather, right, Heather?
His neighbor did not contact our office.
All neighbors were contacted all around me, surrounding me with a letter stating my variance.
So why didn't you get the permit?
There is no permit.
Oh, I mean,
for
not the
concrete.
permit, but check with the zoning.
I kind of just did it, and well, there's property stakes, and I had the property surveyed in a later date. So the stakes that were there are wrong, but mine are correct now because Harry Jones did it and surveyed the property because I have other things going on. which I had a table because of COVID. I have a garage I want to put up back there that's approved, and I have a little walkout basement that I'm going to do too. But that was all. I even pulled permits for those projects and didn't act on them because of COVID. But that's another issue, not for right now.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay, you can be seated, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that's speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? Okay, if there's no further questions for variance number 2021-85, the public hearing is now closed. I get a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second. Thank you. Any discussion? Skip?
It's an obvious violation, but I don't think it's significant. It might be in Quail, but it might have been in Quail, but not here. I don't
You
think
guys
it's a
good?
big issue.
All right. Not much discussion tonight. All right. So the question is approval for variance 2021-85. A yes vote approves it, a no vote denies it. Heather, please call the vote.
Okay, Ms. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
And Mr. Valente?
Yes. It's approved. Thank you. All right. Next is a conditional use permit 2021-17. HSB Architects and Engineers on behalf of the property owner, Auburn Vocational School District, is requesting conditional use permit for a school in accordance with section 13.10 to permit a first responders outdoor training facility addition for the property located at 8159 Auburn Road, current parcel number 08-A-21-0-00-051-0. Gentlemen,
Andre Colon with HSB Architect. I haven't been sworn. Jim was also been sworn.
no, neither one of you guys have been sworn in, so if you could, please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God, if so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. All right.
So, we have, today proposing, on behalf of the Open Career Center, a new facility, training facility for their first responder on the existing lot location at 8221 Auburn Road. Currently, there's an existing house that's been abandoned. The lot also not being used, it's my understanding. And, I'm sorry. What's the,
Jeff Solkowski, Executive Director at Auburn Career Center, 8140 Auburn Road. I have been sworn in. We currently use the structure for first responder training facilities. What we would like to do is enhance the building so that we can do more of the same.
So the existing structure's already used for,
It already is used by our law and public safety adult programs, yes.
so with that, we're improving, on addition to that, facility is adding a couple front yard facility training and a rear facility training. Along with that, we're creating a driveway into the existing house and improving with landscaping and so forth. We have presented some 3D rendering with a submittal. So you can get an idea on what's taking place on the lot with the training facility and what kind of equipments are we providing for the trainers.
when you've been in the past and other people from the school, Auburn Career Center, they've been more traditional, buildings, right? This is very unique, I think, to definitely the community. I've never seen a facility like this anywhere. I've never seen a facility. So is there another facility nearby that's something like this?
So I believe I've spoken to this board about that specific need for there to be a training facility in this region, because our local fire departments now, in order to get their firefighters re-accredited, have to send, the closest one is in Parma. And a lot of people, that gets filled up and then they have to send them to Youngstown. So it's an inconvenience for our local first responders that could be fulfilled right here in Concord Township. There's specific training that involves the tower, that in the other aspects in the back, that firefighters need to be able to perform at a certain amount of time in order to get their initial and renewing those credentials that they need. So to answer your question, you probably never have seen it.
Yeah.
Will the entire obstacle course be surrounded by a security fence?
So the obstacle course, are you talking about the obstacle course in the front yard?
Right.
The obstacle course in the
Well,
front,
the whole thing. The whole thing.
the entire property will not be, no. The only security fence that we're planning on putting is around the stair tower.
That's it?
Yes.
But I saw a note, there's vinyl fencing
Yeah, it's-
along the residential
yeah.
properties that,
So that's more of a
Privacy fence.
privacy fence.
not security.
Correct. It's for visuals and sounds.
Are you gonna have a gate across, excuse me, Yvonne.
No.
Are you gonna have a gate across the driveway?
We do not plan on having a gate across.
So how do you plan to keep young drunk people out of this playground?
So the obstacle in the front, the obstacle course in the front is designed to be, I don't know the word. It's not permanent. It's not there. It will be stored in the garage, and when in use, we were going to bring it out.
You mean the stairs and the climbing
No, no,
things?
no, no.
Like all this stuff?
Yes.
All this stuff?
What?
Yes.
None of this stuff is gonna be out there. It comes in and out?
Correct.
And you're keeping it in this building?
No, we would keep it in the current building, 8159.
This one?
Yes.
Can I see where you're pointing to?
Yeah, I want to.
Oh, they keep it in that building.
But the items in the back, those are more, obviously the tower is permanent.
The tower is permanent. It needs to be on a concrete base, and that would be the only what you call playground item that would be out permanently, and that's why we were proposing to put the fence around that. All the rest of the stuff in the back is all equipment again that comes.
What
inside.
kind of fence are you putting around that?
Well, the idea is really not to have someone just access it and climb it and be on a dangerous level as they're climbing. So I would assume we'll be having, a gate, some sort of a gate to,
How tall?
We could have it as tall as 6 feet, or maybe conceal the bottom of the part so they're not able to get to the stairs.
It's not gonna keep you quiet. I am truly concerned about the security aspects and people getting hurt.
I think Dale talked about an 8-foot fence
On the steel top,
on the tower, around the tower.
well, like I said, we could certainly absolutely enclose it from the front. So, during use, they could open the gates and utilize it and climb the stairs. During, closing hours, they could certainly close the gates and no one will access it. We'll make sure that happens.
It just doesn't seem like the right spot. Like I'm thankful you guys are doing this. I love the idea of it. It just doesn't. I just drive my kid off in that parking lot all the time to pick up the bus. It just doesn't. I drive by it and it just doesn't seem like the right place to put something like this active in the community. I would it feels like it should be like tucked away somewhere and they kind of practice and do their thing. It feels like this is more wide in the out in the open. Go ahead.
I think it's great. I think the location is fine. I mean, it's where they are. It's where they're located. You got 44 on one side. You got Auburn on the other side. You've got girdled on the third side. I don't know what that other neighbor thinks to the north. That might be a whole different story.
I have spoken with them.
They're okay with it? They know the scope of this?
I don't know that they've seen pictures, but I have described to him.
Because I picked my son up too in that parking lot. And a couple weeks ago we were out there and they were doing hose drills with the big hoses, like out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
this would have a designated spot for that drill.
exactly. And I don't think, and you know, I don't think this is any more dangerous than the playground, which is just down Auburn Road at Menor Road. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's almost the same thing, but just down the road, and this is used for an official purpose. So, in terms of safety, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't know.
So I don't know, how many people train at once at a facility like this? 10, 20, 50?
I wish Sean Davis could have made it here tonight.
Yeah.
He's our director of public safety, and he would know more specifically. But it ranges, I would say. It's not like there's going to be hundreds of people there at a time. But you know, depending on what is being tested.
So where are they going to park? Like down to the south, that lot? And
Yes, the lot that you're talking about where you drop your kids off.
Yeah, they
and then
park
there'll be
down
a
there.
walkway going through the backyards behind 8122 to 8151.
And that property to the north, that's a residential property, right?
Yes,
Even though I think it's zoned commercial.
the hers is little bit.
Obviously, the community's in support, or we all know they would be here.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, right.
They would definitely
For darn sure. Do you? I have a question. Do you? Will other municipalities be able to come in and use this?
They not only would be training for Auburn Career Center students, that's what we're talking about. Is yes, other fire departments from the region will be able to send their employees here, a much more convenient location,
Yeah.
probably a much less expensive avenue of getting the training that they're sending them hours away to do right now.
It's outstanding. Is the other one?
We have not.
The only other one's in Parma.
That's
you said?
it's a Tri-City. It's the closest one.
And they'll be so hungry from working out, they'll see the new sign in Bristol.
They're going to be, yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, if I wasn't afraid I'd have a heart attack on this thing, I think it looks like a fun thing for them to do. In turnout gear, maybe not so fun. But I just want to understand, you're gonna pack all this stuff away, like everything on this brown front mat facing Auburn, all that gets packed away and put in the barn.
That's what I've been told. Yes.
You're crazy. Wow.
And again, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, is it going to be exactly like that?
No,
Of course not.
Yeah, but
Is it going to be put away or is it not?
It is going to be brutal.
Okay, because you said that's what I've been told. So if you know definitively,
That's the plan. Yes.
because I'm telling you, after I've tipped a few, I will be their player.
Now the truth comes out.
it does look cool.
We got that on the record.
Don't scale the 8-foot fence.
So can you talk a little bit about the lighting that you're proposing?
We are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, good point.
there was a suggestion that we brought it up to Open if they really need lightings, and so far we're only proposing to do minimum lighting for the front and the back. So we are proposing to have light poles on both sides of the front facility, the same as on the back. With cutoff lines, so no any lights could flood beyond the property line on the north side as well as on the south side. So we control that part of it.
Are the light fixtures shown on the site plan?
Yes,
You can see them on the plan, yeah.
they're in midpoint on the front facility,
Oh, I see it, yeah.
north and south.
I'm gonna, yeah. So the rendering shows a fire truck. Is there really gonna be emergency vehicles pulling in? Do they back out? Do they pull in and turn around? How does that work?
Yeah, they currently do use it. You can drive by there any day now and see a fire truck in the driveway. It doesn't park there, they just pull it up for use to do whatever drills they have to use. We also have an ambulance owned by the district that does the same thing. The driveway apron, as part of this, you won't see it in any of this yet, but it has arisen to our attention that we should probably widen the apron so that it's easier for a fire truck to pull in there. Right now, it's a pretty tight turn. And actually, right now, they usually only back it in for that very reason. So that is, I've already talked to our contractor about it.
Isn't it usually a requirement that an emergency vehicle needs to get behind the building?
I don't know of any such.
Heather?
Will zoning review, like who's gonna review the site plan for this? Because we're just looking at,
Yeah.
we're just approving a conditional use, right? Not just, but we're only approving that conditional use. So the site plan, does that go to zoning, the site
The
plan?
zoning commission will review the site plan.
That's coming up in July.
That'll be fun.
So there's a lot of conditions in 13.10 for schools. Are you planning, because one of them that jumped out maybe is no building or portion of building should be located closer than 50 feet from a budding property line. So I'm assuming like the tower meets that stuff, your building meets all these requirements? Or how do you line up with
Did
some
not
of these?
consider the tower as
A
a
building.
structure, have it in structure, the existing house that's currently within non-compliance of the variance setback. I assume this is what's done when it was rezoned. So either that or it's not clear. We did receive some of this preliminary site review. The house was not part of it, so I assume the house setback is okay. The only thing that we got comment on is the driveway.
We purchased the property after the house was built. So it was
Right.
sold to us as residential before it was a school. So I'm sure it meets the residential guidelines of the time.
Right, but not for what you guys are using.
I mean, yeah, because the drive is only 12 feet and it's supposed to be 25. And, I mean, you're supposed to be able to drive behind it. I mean, it says in 1305D that the services need to be able to get in there. And there's no ability to turn around in there. And I'm sorry, but I still really do struggle with the security aspect of the property. There will be problems there. I don't mean to be negative. I think this is totally awesome. But I just think the security is extremely light.
Yeah.
Yvonne, or maybe Heather, what is our role here though, in terms of granting a conditional use? Are we to look at things like that, or is that for the zoning board?
Well, we're supposed to, I don't know, Heather, if you want to,
They're all right here in our packet, the things that we're supposed to be considering in order to approve the conditional use.
All right. So that is part of our role, is to
it's just,
evaluate safety considerations.
Mr. Sweeney, just to remind you, the applicable zoning regulations are 1305, which are general requirements for
Right.
all conditional uses.
Yeah.
But then there are specific requirements for schools as well. If there are items under 13.10 that they do not meet, they will more than likely file a subsequent variance application and be back in front of you asking for some of these variants under 13.10.
But as part of our review, we can consider each one of those ordinances, each one of the subsections,
It says 13.
and deciding whether to grant or not grant. We can consider all
All of it together, yeah.
all subsections in the cited
Of 13.05 and
sections.
13.10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 1310H says all, sorry, but it is a play area, it's a work area, but it's kind of a play area, shall be enclosed by a fence at least 4 feet in height and shall have controlled access. I think that controlled access is crucial.
To the one plaything that will be out there, I'm using your words again.
I'm sorry?
I'm using your words again, but with the one plaything that will be left there in the yard, it will be secured.
So what about those wooden structures? Are those removable as well?
Which wooden structures are
In
you
the,
thinking?
the back by the tower?
Those aren't even gonna be there. Those aren't even gonna be there. Those are actual, we don't need those simulators because we can use the existing house structure for those roof extractions. And the company that did the 3D renderings mistakenly put those in the backyard, in the rendering. They're not gonna be there.
Well, that's a good piece of information. Yeah, I think the tower is going to be a magnet for people on the weekends.
And I'd say when you go in for,
Absolutely.
if you get your conditional use permit, you go in for your site plan review, I would look at like some of the screening and security stuff to consider that. Because if I'm on the zoning board, I would really look hard at that stuff right now. And the whole circulation about how vehicles get in and out and, you know, the safety, I mean, that's in 13.05 is important too. If somebody's back on that tower, you know, I don't know.
Chris, I disagree with you. The section that you cited, 1310H, I don't think that applies at all. I think that applies to keep young children at school within and not without.
Well, then look at 1305J.
Well, I mean, that's pretty ambiguous, that section.
J, and endangering.
I think what we have
Safety.
to address here is there evidence of a significant threat to public safety if we grant this ordinance? Okay, I don't see any evidence, let alone significant evidence.
There's no security measures here at all.
But your security measures, you're asking, or you're inquiring as to the use of security measures because I'm assuming that you feel there is a threat to safety.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me what, other than getting drunk and...
That's just an extra.
I mean,
okay?
you're not going to stop anybody from doing anything when they're drunk.
I mean, come on. When I was in college and there was this big satellite dish, well, that's where everybody went to, you know? People gravitate towards cool things. I would literally bet my life that there will be an issue. Can't you put, like, on the bottom here, some kind of, like, sliding apparatus, you know, that you can keep locked?
Do this, go to Lake Erie Bluffs. There's a tower just
Same thing.
like this at
Yeah.
Lake Erie Bluffs. They lock up, there's chain link around the first.
Yep.
They open it up when it's open, they close when it's closed, problem solved. No one's climbing up the outside
And there's
of
lots
it.
of drunk people over there.
Yeah, there's lots of drunk people at Lake Erie Bluffs. It's just like this.
We're willing to do-
It's chain link in a door. It's nothing. Yeah, you can definitely lock this
Yes.
up, no
Good
problem.
point.
As a safety for that reason.
Yeah.
I just, what I'm hearing is for an outsider to go into the lot, it's a private,
Yeah.
it's a public, domain really for the training for the school, but it's not an open space for playground for any people to go in. I mean, if we have to have a sign, to say private, do not enter property. To prohibit from,
High
children.
schoolers are not going to listen to that.
Right.
Absolutely not. They will park, at somebody's house 3 doors down, and they will all, scurry through the dark of night, and they will be on top of that tower.
Absolutely, I understand
Yeah.
what you're trying to say. On the other hand, some of the equipment on this 3D modeling, it really does not apply. Quite frankly, we did provide this 3D just to give an idea and a flavor of what's going on the site, but not per se, most of the stuff on the 3D model is accurate.
What is not applying? What is not
As
accurate?
Jeff mentioned, I believe that some of the real equipment pieces, the wood planning and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the tower.
Tower does exist, definitely.
Tower does exist.
Okay,
Tower is part of the-
that's the primary issue.
Yes, and we are willing, like I said, to make sure that we enclose it in a way that no one could really climb. That's easy to do.
Okay. Blair, do you have any questions for them?
No, I'm trying to concentrate on the fact that this is just a conditional use for this type of facility, not necessarily everything we're seeing
It's
presented in front of us.
It's a conditional use for a
and-
school, but it's not
Yes.
like your typical
Yes.
school use.
And so is this a good idea for our area? I think it probably is. Is what we're looking at, all of it acceptable? No. So that's kind of where I stand. I think the facility itself and the idea is very good, is valid.
Agreed.
What we're looking at in terms of the details may not be.
So just to summarize, maybe when we go to vote on the conditional use permit, we're going to allow this first responders training facility to be constructed on this parcel as part of Auburn Career Center. The equipment that is shown out front, I'm going to use the word front, of the existing building will be pulled in and pulled out when used. The equipment, the wooden structures that are shown in the back are not going to be out there. The security tower will be there and be a permanent structure, but will be secured with fencing and gate and locks so that people, when in off hours, couldn't get in there, okay? There is vinyl fencing, which is privacy fencing, along the north side. There's no gate along the front. That's what you're suggesting. And then parking for the 10 to how many people come will happen in this parking lot to the south. And then they'll walk over on the sidewalk and come to this facility.
Correct.
You're adding some landscaping to the side, to the north. I think I saw it on your plan. And I don't know if I saw any other new potential landscaping noted in there. And then the light fixtures are shown, and those are gonna be cut-off light fixtures. There's no turnaround for emergency vehicles. They pull in and back out, or back in and pull out. Emergency vehicles will be coming to the site. Is that a fair enough kind of summary
Yep.
of what we're approving?
And I don't want to speak for Heather, but we did receive site review when we're going to go for the C zone review. There's a lot of your comments, guys, that's been already addressed in their comments that we need to take care of. So there's a lot of items that we still have to deal with when we go for the site review part, and also for the variance. We have a couple of variants in hand that we need to file for, that we have to tackle. So coming all that together, along with your comments and your concern, I guess kind of button up the facility itself to how it's gonna grow.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Can we make the CUP, have the security restrictions and the fact that these things need to be put away? I mean, can we do that?
What is
Can we
that?
make it a
Yes,
requirement?
you can add conditions to the approval if the applicant's willing to agree to those. You
Okay.
can make that part of your approval. Yeah, you can stipulate anything, but I would obviously ask the applicant if they're willing to agree to that before we close the tentative vote.
Would you be amenable?
Go ahead, please present your points.
The security issues and putting all the equipment away when you're done each day.
The front ones.
Yes, because
Yes.
there's no back equipment.
Yes,
Okay.
we will secure the tower and we will remove and make the obstacle course in the front yard portable.
Okay. Great. Any other questions, comments? No?
I'll try to be clear about what the zoning board will address when they get it. Heather, can you help me with that?
Sure, briefly. So the zoning commission is going to be reviewing, obviously, the layout of the development. Does everything meet all the setbacks from the property lines? Is the landscaping adequate? We will also be submitting the plans to other entities that might need to look at it, including our fire department, to make sure that they have good access in and out of the site, should they need to access the property. So we coordinate some of those comments from the other agencies
Okay.
as well. So.
And
Do they have the ability to address safety issues as well?
No, I don't think that no, that would be up to this board.
That's interesting.
If there were issues that you were concerned about the safety, security of the tower, that would not fall under the zoning commission.
And then they're also going to go through county review for site improvements.
Right, county
Like
will do the review on the
stormwater
stormwater.
and all that jazz.
Yes. And
Okay.
Good.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Please be seated. Is there anyone else that's speaking for or against this appeal they'd like to come up? All right. Perfect. If there's no further questions, a public hearing for conditional use permit 2021-17 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve the conditional use permit with the stipulations that Chris laid out, that the equipment will be moved into the building each day, not left out on site, and that the tower will be secured with fencing, gates, and locks, so it cannot, no one can enter in off hours. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second from someone?
Okay.
Any further discussion from the board? Anyone want to add anything before we vote? Good on that end? You guys good?
I think it's cool.
Yeah. All right. So then it's on approval of conditional use permit 2021-17. A yes vote will approve the conditional use permit. A no vote denies the conditional use permit. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Bowling,
Yes.
Ms. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
and Mr. Montek.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Your conditional use permit is approved.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night. Next on the agenda is, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 12th, 2021? Skip and Todd, you were the only two
So moved.
that meeting.
Second.
All right, any additions or deletions? Nope. All in favor of the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone abstaining?
Abstain.
Abstaining.
All right, the minutes have been approved as written. Our next meeting is July 14, 2021. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting is now closed.